Hey everyone, we're going to talk about helmets. Huge key piece of gear. I mean, minus your primary and secondary and body armor, helmets are definitely in the top 4 of key equipment. A few years ago, we went through my build. Check it out on our YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. Probably about a 3-year-old build. I always do a lot with my helmets, ripping off the rails and really customizing it to me and my desires and need and custom fitting it to how I wear comms and nods and everything else. So now we have OpsCore's SF Gen 2. We're going to rip apart my current helmet, build out the new one. Before we get into that, I really wanted to set some weight kind of parameters, give that good comparison, kind of how the original SF comes out of the box, what it weighs, the new SF2, what that looks like, how much that weighs, what my current helmet weighs, maybe a bump helmet, and we'll build all out, kind of see all the different weights and what they look like. So first, kind of kick off what the original SF weighs, just straight out of the box. Good helmet cover, but you guys can see just slick, nothing on it. Check how much it weighs real quick. All right, 2 pounds, 6.9 ounces. Pretty good. I know we've gone through a whole plethora of helmets, technology. It's always nice to get a helmet to start being lighter with this still the same ballistic kind of capabilities. Right. Thank you, OpsCore. Appreciate the note. Check out what the SF2 weighs out of the box. All right, completely slick, nothing on it. 2.2, so 2 pounds, 2 ounces. I'm not a math genius, but almost a half-pound drop. It's huge on helmets, especially you want them to be as light as possible, but still maintain the ballistic capabilities, so good drop. So let's kind of go into it on what the Gen 2 and some of the changes are. Kind of start with the padding. Different style of padding, a little more breathable, modular, flexible. They've changed kind of the back ratchet system up here. It's a little bit longer behind the head, and it's a circular dial vise, kind of the original dial right here. Chin strap. So they've done a lot of work on the chin strap, making it a little more modular, to kind of the end user and how they engineered it. It's a single piece vice a 2-piece. And then how these kind of tri-glides move and you can tighten it. Moving around, so their rail system, whoever thought of this, genius. So basically cable management for battery packs, kind of starting back here. You have to take off the rail, but basically it weaves out and comes right through both rail systems, right or left-handed. So awesome upgrade on that. And my favorite, they now include the shorter screws. So if you want to take your rails off, you don't have to go to Home Depot or wherever your hardware store is to find them. So coated, right length, definitely what I do, and excited about it. I'm gonna hit this bump helmet weight real quick and we'll just see what this weighs as well. Bump helmet's at 1 pound, 11 ounces. So just under the new OpsCore SF2. So that's awesome to be able to get from a non-ballistic to a ballistic and be within a quarter of a pound. That's huge. So amazing job on that. And we'll jump into the build.
Are these the ones you guys use in teams or?
Yes. Some of the original, I say OpsCore helmets that we started wearing, I would say were at least a pound heavier. The tightening portions on kind of the back. This wasn't here. It's kind of old school tactile nylon that was sewn in. So it was good for the time being, but this helmet system allows you to tighten this. Like you don't have to keep these buckled. You can tighten this and fit it right and keep it on. Definitely wouldn't skydive without buckling it, but yeah.
Do you ever find that people tend to overkit their helmets with so much unnecessary stuff?
I find that people absolutely will overkit their helmet with too much stuff. It's sort of like Molly. Like if there's a space, they'll put something there.
What do you, like for you, what are like kind of the essentials that you would have on a helmet, either for skydiving or for just like actually CQB?
I would say bare minimum essentials for my helmet. I mean, these are counterweights that I've had on my helmet since 2004. So counterweights just basically offset the weight on the front.
Yeah.
So with adding the battery pack on there, I used to run 4 of these. When battery packs came out, took the battery pack and kept 2. The other essential I would have is some sort of tensioning lanyards for your night vision. It's a big thing because there's always, no matter how much you tighten it down, there's always just that little wobble. And with these bungees, it takes out that little wobble. So those are my big 2 things. These are more for gas mask attachments. I use it too with 2 heavyweight rubber bands. Just keeps the battery pack, everything kind of smooth and what I feel secure back here. Basically daytime and IR marker. There's been a lot of different variations everywhere from that like rectangular, square brick, a few other ones. And S&S makes a really good one, very user-friendly, simple buttonology, and super slick. So those are my big ones. Kind of get into the cable stowage management, those things. But if I was just going to have a bare minimum, it would be those tension bands for the nods and some sort of counterweight on the back. Because even the PVS 31s, just the 2 tubes, they're a little lighter and they don't need a battery pack. So
what would you say is like the max weight that you should have on your helmet before it gets too like ridiculous?
I wouldn't say a max weight by any means. I would say always try and make your helmet as light as possible. I mean, down to the point of taking off Velcro that you don't need. Yeah. Like, no point in having that on there if you don't need it. But you'll see I have some added Velcro on there just to cover what kind of setups I like on there. I mean, people put camouflage, beauflage, whatever you want to call it on there. Not a huge fan of it, but and there's some different mounts that have come out a little bit slicker from Wilcox and a few others. This one has the breakaway, so kind of 2-piece, allows you to take this off if you want it. Not my preference, but kind of what I'm working with. And there's some ways to tighten up that just by putting a piece of tape on there.
Yeah. What do you find like some of the mistakes like most of the newbies are making when they're like building their helmet? Just too much stuff, or
not fitting it correctly.
Yeah.
So like if they're not getting the education on it, they're just gonna put it on however they think is best. But really the education behind it, of getting it properly fit, setting your chin strap right so you can utilize your chin to make this kind of motion to like flip your nods up just a little bit, especially in the mixed light use, and having that good proper fit. So you talk about like new people too with helmets. The whole counterweight piece is a huge game changer, and you'd be surprised how many people have their helmets wearing nods with no counterweight.
really?
Yeah, it'll take the bend right out of your neck.
It's funny you would think that like adding a counterweight would be like make it heavier, but it actually like helps a lot.
Yeah,
People just don't want to add weight, you know?
it's added weight, but in my opinion, it's added weight that you absolutely have to have
Yeah.
for your helmet to function the right way. There's definitely other ways to lighten it up, but I wouldn't skimp on that weight. All right. Start build out the SF2. First thing definitely going to do is take off the rails. Again, OpsCore, thank you for sending the shorter screws and not making us have to go to our local hardware store and find out the right length. So I do a little trick for trade. So not fully undoing this back one or the front one, so it allows me to keep the screws in there because it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass to get these back in, so if you undo both of them, you're gonna lose some pieces. Just a challenging thing. So having the short screws, I can set these just finger tight while I undo the back one. Basically all I'm doing, I'm keeping my finger right here while I'm unscrewing it so it keeps it in place. This little silver piece right here comes out of the plastic. So just keep my finger on there as I undo it. So just kind of revisiting, these pieces are just something that I use to attach my gas mask if I was going to jump with O2. It's a slim way, and also I use the 2 heavyweight rubber bands, and I'll show you once I finish. It just basically goes over the battery case and keeps everything kind of secure and where you want it. Big thing I do too, when I set this and make it tight, I set it at the angle that I essentially would utilize it for the gas mask, because you can set it right here and just making sure that I set it right where I want it. So one thing I left out, got to go back and do on the other side. So basically the nods retention, making sure I get that on the front. Again, just hand tightening this to take off the back. So I'll try and set my battery pack center a little up from the bottom, just so it stays out of the way. I know I'm gonna have a cable that's coming right out of here. Put the counterweights on each side. Let me go grab the double weight rubber bands real quick. 2 heavyweight rubber bands, basically cinch them on each other. Looks like that. I'll just use this one. So the one worked, basically cross it over, keep it nice and clean. I'll route the cable underneath the rubber band. Plug it in right there. Let's see. IR strobe. So I have to cut these down. These basically keep this cable kind of stowed, and any of these rubber bands, nods retention. So this is where I come in and add a few more things of Velcro. So the way I stow kind of my power cable to my nods, basically I run it up here, put a patch over it, keeps it clean out of the way for me. So I have some Velcro, just gonna add a few pieces right up here. This Velcro, cut it down, add a little more real estate so I can stow these cables and keep them nice and clean when I'm not using them, or when I am, and it gives it still the same flexibility. I got my 2 pieces gonna set up. I like using a lighter to heat up the glue. I feel like the Velcro sticks better when almost you get the glue on the back side of the Velcro almost to a liquid form, but not dripping. But you get heated up, feels like it sticks to the helmet a lot better. So I'll just run it over here for a few seconds. You can visually kind of see it start to heat up in the glue. Probably spend 5-10 seconds just pressing it on, make sure, get all the air bubbles out. And that way. So I'll have my cable locked up in my night vision mount, but that way you keep it nice and slick. All right, here's the secret on how to get rid of the wobble with these things. This piece right there, you got a piece, single layer rigger's tape, little square, change your life, promise. I mean, it's maybe, you can make it smaller, but about a 1/2 inch. It's not completely even, but the big thing is hitting this on the center, and just that little layer will get rid of the wobble. What I do, I'll tuck this right in there, so stay as protected as possible, out of the way. When I want to pull it out, there's enough modularity, can plug it right in. So do the opposite on the same side. I'm a nut about evenness, so I basically line it up with this piece of Velcro and right off the nods. I like to be symmetrical, just mentally at least. Take my little Velcro block. Keeps the nods retention right out of the way. So let's put some nods on here, talk about fitting it. Let's look at what the weight is real quick. I'll just say, since we kind of weighed the other ones fully built out. So 3 pounds, 5.8 ounces. It's not bad. When you're really dropping weight, let's see what these weigh, the rails. So just alone, these rails weigh 3.3 ounces. So I dropped 3.3 ounces plus, we'll call it a 1/2 pound. So almost dropping a full pound on this thing is huge. I mean, so the old version was about 4.2 pounds. Now I'm down to about 3.5. So I love saving weight anywhere you can. Let's see. So I'll say there are some major and minor things. What I skipped over was the cable S-folds, because basically I took it off of one helmet. I'd already fit it, so I already knew how much room I needed to have on it based off the mount and where I wanted on my eyes. So sorry, I did skip over that. You'll see there's kind of a max range here based off the S cable folds. There's a little room I can kind of pull out of them, but like I said, I don't like to have a lot of stuff dangling, grabbing on, snapping. I'll say these are not my preferred tightness, so I'll go back through later on. I'll tighten these up, get them tight where I want them, because again, that helps get the wobble out and keep it tight. Let's see real quick. So big things, this dial keeps it nice and tight. I have this little lever right here that'll help bring them up. And then little tilt right here, tilt it on. It's good to get a good fit, see how it feels. If you're gonna wear a headset, your iPro, pulling out the pads and fitting it to your headset. There's a variety of pads that come in it. I'm a big fan of taking out kind of the middle portion that allows me to fit my headset comms right underneath of it. I'll continue to play around with it a little more, get it fit just right. But want to go over the new SF2 build. Saved £1 on the new upgrade. We'll play around some more with the back tightening strap, give some good feedback on it, give you guys our reviews. Leave comments, questions down below. Appreciate it. SF2.